My food.
Yes. Are you ready? Are you in?
I don't have permission to live stream. Why not?
Give it back to me. Hold on 1 second. Mm. We're about to start the live stream, so that's what's the momentary interruption. Okay, we are live. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay, good morning, everyone. It is 10:06. We're officially starting the meeting. Let me pull up the agenda. This morning's meeting is about protecting the vote. We will have Harris County Clerk Chris Hollins on and Nicole Pedersen from the Harris County Democratic Party on protecting our vote. But before we get to all of that, we have some business to take care of. I'm going to do this a little out of order from what is on there because I want to go ahead and get the update on the bylaws passed first. So I'm going to read those. The amendment is Section 5, Meetings, Part 2, add, for the purpose of conducting organizational business in the event of a natural disaster or an emergency declaration by the Harris County Judge, Texas Governor, or President of the United States, or wherever the Executive Committee has determined it is not safe for the members, an online virtual meeting will be considered a valid meeting. In the event of such a situation occurs, the organization can continue all functions necessary via online virtual meeting. In order to be considered a valid online virtual meeting, members must be able to see and communicate with one another for discussion and voting purposes, either verbally or through written text, which can be viewed by all participants. That's the first.
What's the same on the second?
Okay. And that is the same as the second part, which is under Article 6, Rules of Government, Part 1. We will add the same section. Is there anyone who wishes to have discussion about the motion before the body to amend the bylaws to add in virtual meeting?
My suggestion is let's make the motion and second it to make it official and then have discussion.
Okay.
So I make that motion.
Second,
Who was the second?
Bobby.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any discussion?
As long as we correct the 2 spelling mistakes.
Okay, amend the 2 spelling mistakes. The roll call?
Roll call and accessible.
Okay. So the motion is to accept them with the amendments to speak the spelling errors. Any other discussion?
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor, please signal by aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. The bylaws have been amended. Okay, so that's that part. The next part is for the minutes. The minutes from the last meeting were a motion to place before the bylaws for the measure was made. A motion was made to spend up to $12,000 on GOTV efforts for the membership, and the motion was adopted. And then we had the United States of Conspiracy with Mark Bankston talking about Alex Jones and how conspiracy theories play a heavy role in U.S. politics. Motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all. Okay, I'm switching items. This one I want. This one. Treasurer's report. Can y'all see the treasurer's report?
Yes.
Mhm.
Let me read from my copy. Okay. Because I want to walk us through this because I have a motion I need to make after this. So the beginning, the balance after the last meeting was $14,472.17. We have pending, we have credits in the deposits in that period of time for $3,310.35. We've had withdrawals of $5,081.30, which gives us the balance at that point is $12,701.22. Oh, thank you. Sorry. We have outstanding transactions of $240 to ATP PAC, $5,033.63 for our door hangers purchase. We have a pending deposit of $129.65 that was deposited yesterday. And we have a pending ActBlue disbursement of $946.08. That would bring the balance to $8,503.82. Huh? Oh. Any questions so far? Motion to adopt the treasurer's report.
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. So to piggyback off that and go into the president's report, the motion was made last meeting and it was passed that we would spend $12,000 on our GOTV efforts. Total GOTV spending as of right now is $9,581.41. But at that point in the motion, we had not received the $3,310.35 that was pretty much unexpected. So there's $2,400 left from the last motion to spend approximately for GOTV efforts. I am asking the body to spend an additional $3,000 for GOTV efforts. We want to do a digital ad campaign in a number of zip codes to try to augment the door hangers that we're going to be putting out there. So that would be, we're spending an additional, it would leave the balance approximately at a little over $3,000 if we spend the $5,000, the remaining $5,000.
I
So,
make a motion.
what was that, Joe?
I make the motion that we spend the money for the digital ads.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of adding another $3,000 to our GOT efforts?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. We will continue with our GOTV effort and spend that money. And for those of you who can't see, Soren, and this is going to be backwards, Soren did drop off the first copy of the yard signs for the early vote. Starts October 13th. We're either getting them today, the actual 250, or tomorrow, so we can begin handing them out. And we will be, and as I told y'all last time, there'll be labels that you can print off and peel and put in that section so it looks nice and is legible. So one of the things we're asking is if you have a location near you, let us know so we can have the label and the address printed for you so that it kind of looks uniform. Otherwise, if we don't get those in time, we won't have those available for you. So that's everything I have. At the end of the After everything's been discussed, if there's any questions, we'll take that at that time. However, the county clerk has joined us and he is limited in the amount of time he has, and there are lots and lots of questions, I'm sure. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Harris County Clerk Chris Hollins and allow him to talk to us about the state of the election and everything that has occurred within the last week and what he knows about what happened even last night. So, Chris, take it away.
Well, I look forward to sharing what I know and maybe commiserate with y'all on some of the other stuff. Adrian, thank you so much. And to the Southwest Democrats, it's great to be in front of you again. I came to you last at the first ever meeting of the Southwest Democrats after the name change to talk about turning Texas blue. Today, I come to you in a nonpartisan manner to share with you the wonderful work that we're doing to protect the right to vote in Harris County, to ensure that every voter in Harris County can cast their ballot safely, conveniently, and with the peace of mind that their votes will be counted. We are in a rapidly changing time, both from the perspective of this dangerous virus, the perspective of the economic uncertainty that we're all now facing, recent developments with the unfortunate passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and all of the other, election-related, litigation and everything that's changing the landscape of how we can administer an election here in Harris County, but also across Texas and across the United States of America. But I'm here to ensure you that we're doing everything that we can to protect their right to vote, and that Harris County voters should feel secure in the fact that your votes are going to be counted. We're going to provide not only safe ways to vote in person. We're of course promoting vote by mail within the bounds of the law because that's the safest and most convenient way to vote. But we're giving you more ways to vote, like drive-through voting, more days to vote, 18 days of early voting, a Texas record that as Adrian mentioned, is now being challenged in court. More hours to vote. We're going to have multiple days where voting hours extend until 10 p.m. And one evening where voting extends 24 hours, where the polls won't close at multiple locations across Harris County. More locations to vote. We have tripled the number of early voting locations from 2016 to 2020. And that's to make sure that every Harris County voter has the opportunity to vote somewhere near their neighborhood, near their child's school, near their place of business, near their place of worship. And we're excited about that. We're going to have more election workers than ever before, over 11,000. And we've been pleased that nearly 30,000 applicants have expressed interest in serving as election workers. And so we know that, while across the country, they're considering, closing voting sites in many ways because of a lack of election workers to do the job. We're in it with great folks who want to be election workers and serve the people of Harris County. And for those of you on this call who are going to be election workers, we owe you a debt of gratitude. Your neighbors in Harris County owe you an extreme debt of gratitude for everything that you're doing to protect the right to vote and to ensure that we all can exercise the franchise this November. So I'll go into some quick specifics, but then I just want to open it up for questions because I want to focus on what's most important to you. But vote by mail. Voting by mail is the safest and most convenient way to vote, not only for you, because you're not being exposed to anyone else during the time of this deadly virus. Not only more convenient for you because you can vote from your kitchen table, from your sofa, but it's also safer and more convenient for every other Harris County voter because that's one less person in line in front of them at a time when we're going to be seeing record turnout, and one less person who they could be exposed to while we're trying to keep everyone safe during the time of coronavirus. Of course, you are eligible to vote by mail if you're age 65 or older, if you're traveling outside of the county during the voting period, if you're in jail, or if you have a disability. And what that means, disability under Texas Election Code, it's a bit more expansive than the traditional understanding of the word disability. It includes if you're sick, if you're pregnant, or if you have a physical condition that creates a likelihood of injury to your health if you were to vote in person. And what does that mean during this time of COVID-19? The Texas Supreme Court has told us that, number one, it's up to you, the voter, to decide. It is about your health and it's your personal decision, not mine, not the governor's, not the attorney general. But the Texas Supreme Court has also made clear that you can take your lack of immunity to COVID-19 into account. But that can't be the only factor. You have to have an accompanying physical condition. But if you were to go to the CDC's website, which harrisvotes.com now links to, you will see that many conditions that many Harris County voters have are comorbidities for COVID-19. Obesity, heart conditions, breathing conditions like asthma or bronchitis, diabetes, hypertension, cancer. There are so many others, and any of these can be taken into account, but ultimately it is your decision to make as to whether you have a physical condition that creates a likelihood of injury to your health if you vote in person. And so if you want to learn more about that, or if you want to apply to vote by mail, you can go to harrisvotes.com/vote by mail. We have sent out over 30,000 vote by mail applications so far. On Monday, another 180,000 vote by mail applications will go out. And so if you've applied to vote by mail already, you'll see that in your mailbox next week. But you can continue to apply to vote by mail until October 23rd. But don't wait for that. You should apply now if you're eligible, and make sure you take part in what is the safest and most convenient way to vote. Many people have questions about the Postal Service. Of course, we've seen national efforts to dismantle this storied institution. Here in Houston, local leadership and local employees of the post office are dedicated to ensuring that you get your mail, not only election-related mail, but all of your mail. Many people are getting important medicines, business documents, and so forth through the mail. And you should trust that the local leadership is committed to that. But even for those who have doubts about the post office, for the first time ever, you can drop off your mail ballots to us at any county clerk office location across Harris County. There are 12 of those locations, including our new headquarters in RG Arena. And so even if you don't trust sending that piece of paper through the mail, you can come and drop that off in person, and that will still be safer and more convenient than waiting in line at a voting center. We have proactively sent applications out to all of our seniors. We're planning to proactively send out applications to everyone, along with the guidance that I just shared with you about who's eligible to vote by mail and who's not. We have been sued by the Attorney General as it relates to that plan. The law is on our side. We have won in court now twice, and we're going to make it a third time when we go before the Supreme Court this coming week. And so if you're under the age of 65 and you have not applied to vote by mail, then you should, in coming weeks, after we win in the Supreme Court next week, get an application. But don't wait for that. Go today to harrisvotes.com/vote by mail and apply to vote by mail if you're eligible. What else are we doing? Drive-through voting. For those who are not eligible to vote by mail but still have a concern about safety, at 10 locations across Harris County, including NRG Arena, including the Toyota Center, including the Houston Food Bank, Windsor Village Church, and quite a few others, you can vote without ever getting out of your vehicle. And instead of being exposed to all of those, the voters who are in line, you'll be in the safety of your vehicle, and you will interact with a single election worker who will simply check your ID and hand you a voting machine that has been properly sanitized. That is, drive-through voting. This is happening for the first time in the history of Texas. We're proud to be on the leading edge of that and bringing that safety and convenient option to you. If you do vote in person, of course, if you walk in, we're providing you with a mask if you don't already have one. We're offering you a finger cover and a sanitizing wipe that you can use to operate the voting machine without ever physically touching it, that you can wipe down the machine in any high-touch surfaces before you interact with it. When you check in, you'll be separated from that election worker by plexiglass. The check-in system in terms of showing your voter ID is a touchless system, so you won't ever hand that ID to the election worker, which will further reduce any potential contamination or exchange. All of our election workers will be wearing PPE, including face coverings. All of our voting centers will enforce social distancing, not only while you're waiting in line, but also between the voting machines as you cast your ballots. And so again, we're doing everything that we can to keep you safe. Extended hours, as I mentioned, on October 27th, 28th, and 29th, all 120 of our early voting centers will stay open until 10 p.m. That's the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the last week of early voting. And on that Thursday, there will be 7 locations that do not close at all. They'll open at 7 a.m. on Thursday. They will not close again until Friday at 7 p.m. And so there will be more than 24 hours continuously of voting in Harris County. The reason we're doing that is because we have folks in our medical center who are working to save lives. We have first responders like firefighters who check in for their shifts at 5 in the morning. Folks stocking shelves at grocery stores that we need so much right now, who get it off at 2 and 3 in the morning. Folks who work in the Port of Houston or at plants and factories around town who need this one opportunity to be able to cast their vote at a time that's convenient for them, for their family obligations. But anybody can cast their vote during that 24-hour period. And for drive-through voting, anybody can vote drive-through if you choose to. And so we're excited about bringing those options to you. Not only is this going to be a safe election, but this is going to be a secure election. All of our voting systems are completely offline. They are not connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form. And so there's no way that Russia, China, or anybody else is going to affect your votes. It's going to be you. Of course, there's a lot of stuff in the news about voting by mail and the security around that. I want to put any of that concern to rest. Mail fraud as it relates to voting does not happen with any frequency in the United States of America. You are more likely in this country to be struck by lightning than to experience mail voting fraud. And that is a statistical fact. And as I'll be partisan for a second, as Democrats, I think we believe in facts and data. And so you need to know that mail ballot, voting by mail is safe. Again, if you have concerns about putting that in the mailbox, you can bring it directly to us. You can bring it to our headquarters at NRG Arena or any other county clerk location across Harris County and drop that ballot off to us. Once we have it in our possession, it will be placed in a locked box. That locked box will be placed in a cage that is itself locked. And that cage is under 24-hour camera surveillance by Precinct 1 constables. And it sits in our headquarters where my leadership sits. This is a very secure process. Once that ballot comes out to be processed, it is processed at all times by a bipartisan committee of 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats. The chair is a Democrat. There will be at least 2 people from opposite parties handling your ballot at all times. They will be checking your signature, making sure that it's you who cast that ballot. Those votes, while the ballot will be processed beginning in mid-October, the votes are not officially counted or tallied until Election Day. So no one will have, your results before Election Day. And as usual, we plan to announce the huge majority of those results from early voting and from voting by mail right around 7 p.m. on election night. Of course, you have until 7 p.m. on election night to get that in the mail, and we can receive it by the next day. And so there are always, in every election, mail ballot votes that come in after that count. And so we will update that count. But, a huge percentage, 99% plus of election results related to vote by mail, we expect to announce those timely on election night. And so, again, that is a safe way to vote and a convenient way to vote. We, of course, are training all of our election workers. We're still in the process of choosing election workers. And so, as you all probably know, election judges are selected by the parties and election clerks are selected by the judges. And so my office helps to facilitate that, but we aren't the ones who are making those selections, at least until sort of the final days if we need to fill any slots. And so if you haven't heard back, do not lose hope. Do reach out to the party to express your interest and make sure that you're on sort of the list to be called. But my office is processing those thousands and thousands of interest forms and making sure that we fill the 11,000 plus election worker slots. Again, we're grateful to you all for doing that work. We're committed to keeping you safe as election workers, and we're thrilled to be paying $17 an hour at minimum to all of our election workers. With that, I will pause because I do, again, want to open up for questions. I do see some things in the chat. I don't know if, Adrian, if you want to sort of MC this
Yes.
and ask me questions.
Mary, did he answer your question?
I think it would be much helpful if you could identify if the Harris County vote by mail ballots have been released, or will they be released on Monday?
They will be released on Monday. What's gone out so far is our overseas and military ballots, as well as the Harris County ballots that are in foreign languages, in Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. The English language Harris County ballots, which is the bulk of them, of course, will be going out on Monday, Mary, and you should receive those this coming week.
And a follow-up question, how much postage should be used to return the ballot? 1 stamp, 2 stamps?
2 stamps, and that'll be clearly marked on the envelope. One thing to know is that if you're short a stamp or if you don't have any postage whatsoever, if you put that in the mail, it will get to us, and Harris County will pay that postage on your behalf. We're not going to disenfranchise any voters based on not having a stamp or not having the money to pay for their mail ballots. The other thing is that we are going to introduce tracking of your mail ballots. I know many people say, hey, I don't know where my mail ballot is in the system. Well, 1, you can always call our office and ask where that is in the system. 2, you can always email us at VBM, which stands for vote by mail, VBM@harrisvotes.com to ask about your mail ballot. But starting next week, we're completing the testing now, you'll be able to go to harrisvotes.com, type in your information, and see where your mail ballot is in the process. And again, that's for your comfort and peace of mind.
We have a question from Gail about the drive-in drop-off ballot at NRG. Can you walk us through that process?
Yeah, plain and simple. And this is the process at every drop-off location. At NRG, if you pull into gate 8, which is on Kirby, there will be someone there who will take that ballot from you, will check your photo ID. You have to bring your own ballot and you have to show photo ID to drop it off. And then there will be a signature to document that we have received it. At that point, at a couple of points per day, that lockbox will be transported inside to NRG and stored. At all of our other locations, very similar process. You'll have the option of walking your ballot in or pressing a curbside button for someone to come out and retrieve that ballot from you. You'll show photo ID. You'll have that signature that will be stored in a lockbox. That lockbox will be brought to NRG daily and stored at NRG to make sure that every single ballot is secured in our headquarters.
Claude, did you have a question?
My question's been answered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bobby and Roy's had their question answered.
Jenny Beach.
Jenny Beach, do you have a question?
Yes. So I guess I have a concern since Abbott said that you can go maskless in the voting locations. I know on a different Zoom I was in with you, you mentioned having those voters separated. So one of my questions is, how are you going to do that and do it in a way to where they don't get to vote faster, thereby creating an incentive to go maskless? And I'm also concerned about poll watchers and their ability to hover a bit more. And if Republicans send in maskless poll watchers to try and kind of intimidate and create a unsafe atmosphere, what the plan is.
Yep, very relevant concerns. If you show up without a mask, the first step is that we offer you a mask as a voter. And the next step, if you can't wear a mask because of preference or health reasons, we offer you the opportunity to vote curbside, to vote outdoors. But if you refuse that and you insist in coming outside, there is a particular voting machine that is set aside that's further away from all of the voting machines, and that will be the only machine that you're allowed to vote at. You won't be able to skip anyone in line. You will have to wait in line, and in fact, we're allowed to have you wait outside. And when it's your turn to vote, you will be brought in, and you can vote at that further distance machine. I will tell you that in July, there was not a real issue here. We had 99+% of voters across Harris County, even in more traditional Republican areas, that wore their masks and did not have any issue with that. Of course, now we're in the general. It's a high stakes election, more opportunity for shenanigans. So we'll be paying attention to that. Of course, we cannot force the voters to wear masks. We cannot force the poll watchers to wear a mask. The election workers will be required to wear masks. We are enforcing social distancing, and if a poll watcher does not respect that, our election judges are empowered to take action. And beyond the election judges, we will have a county clerk employee at every single voting location during early voting and on election day to specifically be paying attention to potential voter intimidation or coercion. We are working with not only the county attorney's office, but the DA's office, the constables, the Harris County Sheriff, and the Houston Police Department to be on high alert for any issues around voter intimidation, and to handle those appropriately and speedily. Very often issues do come up that are, perhaps annoying in nature, but we know that, and we're on guard for things to come up that are intentional in nature. And when we sense that and suss that out, we're going to move very quickly to remove those people from the voting center, and if need be, have them detained and potentially press criminal charges. During the time of COVID-19, violating someone's personal space, when it's assumed that everyone around you could be a carrier of this disease, that could be classified as assault. We're not looking to go out and arrest a bunch of people and charge a bunch of people with crimes. That is not our intent. But if we see people doing this intentionally, we will take appropriate action.
Renata, did you have a question?
Yes, I had actually two questions from friends. One was a concern, like what is the signature compared to on the ballot?
The signature is compared to your signatures that we have on file. So we can go back as far as the last 4 signatures for you that we have on file from your applications, from your voter registration, from your driver's license, to compare those. And the standard is being followed to ensure that again, a bipartisan committee is looking at those to try to ensure that it is in fact you that is voting.
Okay. And then, I mean, I feel good about the mail-in voting, but I have two friends that have, are eligible and had signed up, but they don't want to do it anymore. And so they were wondering, what is the process to undo that request for mail-in voting? What do they?
All right, so there's no undoing it, but that having been said, I'll say two things. The first one is I would strongly encourage your friends to complete their mail ballot and drop it off to us in person. By doing that, they will ensure that we have it, and that will be safer and more convenient for them and for every other voter for them to follow that process. But if they're intent on voting in person, there are two ways to do that. The first one is to bring your mail ballot with you and surrender it to the election judge, and then you'll be able to vote in person, smooth, no issues. The second one is if you have not, if you lost or damaged your mail ballot or say you didn't receive it, you will be able to vote provisionally. And as long as we don't receive a voted mail ballot for you, then that provisional ballot will be counted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Renata.
Gail, did you have a question? Gail?
Oh, yeah, hi. Hi, Chris. I just wanted to double check about the hours for voting in person at the polls, drive-through. That's going to be, for early voting, that's going to be from 7 to 7 and on weekends now, right? Not just business hours.
So Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then during the final week, we'll have extended hours on the 27th, 28th, 29th. The polls will stay open until 10 p.m. For drive-through voting.
Great. And then one other question. I believe that if people start getting their ballots this week, they can go ahead and drop them off by walking in to the annexes. They don't have to wait until early voting, I believe, right?
That is correct. And they can walk in or they can press the curbside buzzer and someone will come out to them.
And the curbside buzzers are already there. And is there just one per parking lot?
Yes, there's one curbside buzzer per parking lot.
And they're already in place.
They're already in place.
That's just fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Vincent?
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Vincent, how are you?
Okay. Could you give us an update on this, I guess, maybe silly notion by the GOP concerning trying to delay the early vote, taking it from the 13th, taking it back up to the 20th? I'm sure you've heard something about that. They were trying to take it to the Texas Supreme Court. Did they get any traction with that?
I don't believe that there's going to be a lot of traction, but we do have an all-Republican Supreme Court, and so there are no guarantees. I would frankly be surprised if they reversed the early voting timing. I mean, we had extended early voting in July, and there was no issue and no challenge whatsoever. Two, the announcement by Abbott to extend early voting was made quite some time ago. And for this to be this 11th hour Hail Mary, the courts are not likely to look favorably on that. And the fact that so much preparation has already gone into this, and so many voters have already been informed of these dates, and so on and so forth, it is highly unlikely that decision will be reversed by a court.
Thank you.
Carol?
That being said, I believe that Harris County will submit an amicus brief arguing in favor of Governor Abbott's decision to extend the early voting period, which I'm sure many of you know was done specifically at my request.
Carolyn?
Did you say me, Gail?
No, Carolyn.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, she may not be able to.
You talking to me, Adrian?
Yes, did you have a question?
I'm not used to using Zoom on a phone, so I'm a little clunky here. Long story short, if, and I'm assuming we do win the lawsuit against the Attorney General, that's obviously going to cost us some money. I have not looked at the suit yet. Can we recover our court costs, assuming we win?
So we can recover court costs, but not attorney's fees. And so these costs, I mean, we're talking, and the retained attorneys and have also done a good chunk of the work pro bono.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Jane, did you have a question? Jane?
Yes. Let me, where is it? Oh yeah, is there a number for people to call or a website spot in case of issues seen by voters at polling locations as opposed to poll workers?
In terms of a voter intimidation line or something of that nature?
Yes.
So there is a number, which I frankly don't have the phone number at this moment, but I can get that to you all. But what you need to do, we have an election judge. There will be a Democratic election judge at every location. They will either be the presiding judge or the alternate judge. You need to report it directly to the election judges. That's number one. Number two, the county clerk's office will have an employee at every single location who is specifically looking out for this type of activity. And so if you're not getting the traction that you want to see from that election judge, go to the county clerk employee, the deputy clerk specialist, who will be at every single location. And they will certainly escalate it properly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Adrian, let me jump in. If I have a couple of questions. One is, Chris, can you mention the telephone helpline that will be staffed by so many people, and also the new
Sorry, it
tracking?
looks like Adrian lost his connection here.
Oh.
He's just stating that we'll take 2 more questions. We do have Nicole Pedersen from the Harris County Democratic Party who handles voter protection for the party. And a lot of these questions she may be able to answer as well after her presentation. So we'll give Adrian a minute to get caught up here. In the meantime, let's see, Diana, did you have a question? A follow-up question, I think?
Hey, just real quick, Eric, I ran down that phone number. So the phone number is 713-755-6965. Again, that's the Harris County Clerk's number. But of course, the Harris County Democratic Party will also have voter protection efforts taking place.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I believe I got my question answered. Thank you.
Judge Davis, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for coming out and talking to us today. It's greatly appreciated. This question is specifically about mail-in ballots. On the mail-in ballot, you mentioned your handwriting and checking the variety, driver's license, voter registration about the handwriting on the mail-in ballots. I personally, my mother, her handwriting, she's having a very difficult time lately. She's getting close to 80 and it's very frustrating for her, but she's not really able to write like she did. So none of her signature this year, unfortunately, is not going to be like her signature in the past. And so are you all taking age into consideration where possibly these people are having health issues and not able to write the way they wrote in the past?
Yeah, that's a great question, Judge. I appreciate you asking it. There are 2 things here I should mention. One is that when you vote by mail, there's an opportunity to have someone who is a witness or an assistant to help you. And so anyone who has trouble signing has that option, and that's handled in a special way. The other thing is that this early voting ballot board, which is bipartisan, chaired by a Democrat, they have taken it upon themselves to, anytime there is a signature issue, they will reach out directly to the voter with the phone number that we have on file to try and make direct contact with you and inquire about the situation of if this was in fact you that cast that ballot. And so that measure will be taken if there are any questions about a signature.
Okay, final question from Priscilla. Priscilla?
Thank you, Chris. I have a question about, we already know about voters or candidates wearing political slogans or a candidate on a shirt or a hat, but now people might be wearing candidates or slogans on a face mask. And if they refuse to change that for one of our masks.
So that will be treated extremely similarly. We'll offer them a non-branded face mask, free of charge, that they can put over, their face mask temporarily if they'd like to. But yeah, any sort of logo branding will be treated as electioneering. Now, we also know that many voters have no ideas about these electioneering laws. And so if a voter comes without, with some of that stuff, we will be very kind to the voter in explaining the law to them, but also making sure that they follow that law, either, changing the shirt inside out or taking off the item for a moment to come in and cast their votes. And I literally this morning was reviewing the training of how we handle that situation with voters to make sure that we're doing it with care, with the knowledge that many voters don't know that this is the law and they're just excited about their candidate. But for those, who are truly like election or, who are candidate staff or supporters or whatever, we'll make sure that they know that to come within 100 feet, they'll have to follow those rules.
Okay.
Hey, I know Chris has to head off for an 11 o'clock shortly, so thank you very much. Any final words, Chris, to offer for us? Thank you very much for everything that you've done, though, to make this election as accessible and as open as possible. The expanded hours, the expanded locations, everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you to all of you. As you know, democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires all of us to be engaged, to be active, and particularly when it comes to election time, to cast our votes and ensure that those around us are casting their votes as well. And so for everything that all of you are doing, I thank you. For those who are going to be election workers, I thank you doubly, and the people of Harris County, thank you for what you're doing to protect the right to vote, to make that safe and convenient for every voter in what's going to be the most important election of our lives. So I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you very much. Is Nicole on?
Yes.
Okay, so at this point, we're going to invite Nicole to give us a presentation on, she's from the Harris County Democratic Party, and to tell us what they are doing also to help protect our vote. So
there we go. Good morning. Thank you for having me. So yes, as Adrian said, I'm running voter protection for the Harris County Democratic Party. I am an attorney who does a lot of voter protection, and I've been doing this for HCDP for a few years now. But we are going to have the biggest voter protection program, at least that I've seen. When I was planning this, I didn't quite realize how many of you are election judges. So I recognize a lot of names, and some of what I'm going to be talking about, you're going to already know. but I'm gonna just go quickly through a few things. And then, you know, if you already know this, I apologize, but I will move fast to give you as much time as possible to ask questions. So can I?
You should be able.
Okay. So. Okay. Let me just start the slideshow. Okay, can everybody see it? Okay. All right, so voter protection in Harris County. So we're gonna have a three-prong approach. Election workers, the legal boiler room, and poll watchers, and I'll go through what each of that means. First of all, election workers. Being an election worker is the absolute most important thing you can do. If we have great election workers, then we don't have voter suppression issues. Voter protection then is almost unnecessary because great judges and clerks who are efficiently and fairly helping our voters cast their votes is absolutely the most important thing. Just very quickly, so in each polling location, there will be a presiding judge who is in charge of the location. They manage the clerks and basically run the location. There's then an alternate judge from the opposite party. The alternate judge will work as a clerk unless the presiding judge steps out or needs a break, and then the alternate judge can step in. And then there are a number of clerks. This year, the Harris County Democratic Party has a new initiative called Election Law Clerks. This is not an official position through the county clerk's office. It's something that we're doing internally. But we have recruited a large number of attorneys and law students who we are giving extra training in the election code, and then they will be placed as clerks throughout the city or the county so that they can be a resource for the election code and help the presiding judge with those rules. This is particularly important this year because we have so many polling locations that we're going to have some judges without the experience of others. So to give them the extra support of an attorney or a law student who really knows the election code, I think will be quite helpful. To be an election worker, the qualifications are quite simple. You just need to be a registered voter in Harris County. You must be available on election day from 6 a.m. until the polls close on November 3rd, and you need to be willing to attend a 3.5-hour online training provided by the county clerk's office. That's for clerks. Judges, the training is a little bit longer. Before I go in, let me say a word about how staffing works, because I think there's some confusion about this throughout the community right now. And I think it is amazing that the county clerk's office has 29,000 people who want to be election workers, but the party staffs before the clerk's office staffs. So my team gets to put our people in first. We nominate judges, many of whom are on this call. A lot of those judges have teams ready to go, which is terrific. But because we have so many new judges this year, we have a lot of clerk positions to fill. So people who applied directly with us, with the Harris County Democratic Party, I am staffing those people now for election day. Early vote is full, but election day we are staffing. It is our goal to staff all of our positions. So although the county clerk's office can step in the emergency period if there are gaps that need to be filled, we want to put in qualified Democrats in every position possible. I'm also trying, and my team, we are trying very hard to staff with as much intention as possible too. So we are looking at putting experienced people with non-experienced people, younger people with older people, so that everyone is represented in every polling location, and so that we are building a new generation of poll workers. So at the end of this, I will tell you how you can apply to be an election worker if you have not already. I would urge you that if you've applied through the county clerk's office, you should apply through HCDP because you will have a greater chance of being staffed, honestly, because we get to do our staffings first. Okay, so moving on to prong 2 is the legal boiler room. This is a team of voter protection attorneys like myself. We are going to be available throughout all of early voting and election day. So in the past, HCDP's legal protection team has gotten together on election day. This is a picture of us on Super Tuesday. And we are there to answer voters' questions by phone, resolve any issues that have been reported to HCDP or the Texas Democratic Party. Anything that is called into TDP goes onto a database that we see, and we handle everything that has to do with Harris County. We're also there to support election judges. So sometimes judges will call us with questions or a situation. My team is made up not just of attorneys with voter protection experience, but many of these attorneys have also been presiding judges. So they have a lot of experience to share, and we can help you problem solve. We also have some direct contacts in the county clerk's office. So if there's a big problem and you as a presiding judge need the help of the county clerk and you have not been able to get through quickly enough to them, you can come to us, and we have some direct numbers where we can get them immediately. We also will be managing and sending out poll watchers, which I will talk about next. One more point on the legal boiler room. So in the past, this is what it looks like, all of us in one room all day long. This year, of course, it's going to be remote. It is a team. We've all been working together now for a long time, and we've tested out running the boiler room via Zoom, and it's fine. So that's how we're going to do it. Also, because we're going to be doing it for so many days instead of one day, it has to be remote. So we will be, it will not look like this year, but it will virtually be accomplishing the same task, but for a greater amount of days. Okay, so poll watchers. So poll watchers are people who are appointed to observe the conduct of an election. They're essentially eyes and ears for us. Our poll watchers will be observing what's happening in a location, and if there is something that the legal boiler room needs to know about so we can take action, they can step outside and call us, and then we can help. Poll watchers are very important because their presence discourages bad behavior, right? If we have a location where we suspect something, we suspect possibly that the judge doesn't follow the rules exactly as they should, a Republican judge, we can send a poll watcher there, and just having that person there can sometimes help. They can also, these poll watchers can immediately point out any issues that they're spotting to the presiding judge. They're not allowed to talk to voters, but they can talk to the judge in a respectful way that is not disruptive, and therefore bring up any issues immediately. And then they can report things back to us more quickly. So the presiding judge is very busy. They may be having some issues that they wish we knew about and that we could help support them, but they do not have time to stop and call us. But the poll watcher could step outside and make that call for them. Okay. One more thing on poll watchers. I'm sure you have all seen in the news that the Republican Party has recruited 50,000 poll watchers nationwide. I am not as worried about this as I would be in other states, because in Harris County, or I'm sorry, in Texas, poll watchers are not allowed to talk to voters. They must be able to see and hear what's going on in the polling location, but because of social distancing, they will be at least 6 feet away from anyone else. So yes, they can be in the polling locations, but they cannot, they cannot interact with voters. We are planning to have more poll watchers than we've ever had before, somewhat to balance out these Republicans. So I'm already having Democrat presiding judges ask me to place Democrat poll watchers in their location just to have somebody else there, so that when there's a Republican poll watcher, we also have a Democrat poll watcher there. Okay, so these are the links to sign up to be an election worker. That's the top link. To become a poll watcher, the Texas Democratic Party will be doing the training for that. They're going to train all our poll watchers and then hand them over to me so that I can place them in the locations where we want them. But you will sign up through TDP's website to become a poll watcher. Also, remember that you could be a poll watcher throughout early vote and then still be an election worker on election day. And in fact, that would be a great experience if you are new, because you'll get to watch a location for a little while and maybe pick up some tips that then you can use when you go into your location to work on election day. So maybe I can put these links into the chat. But otherwise, I'm here for questions. Okay. Well, okay.
I'll figure out how to put these in the chat.
Do we have questions for Nicole?
I have one.
Yes.
Hey, I wanted to ask Chris this, but maybe we'll get an answer here just as well. According to the Houston Chronicle this morning, because we don't have party affiliation on the ballots, that the average ballot will take 15 minutes to fill out. That's a very slow process, and I'm wondering, are we going to have extra voting machines available to handle that extra time that each voter will take at the poll?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. It has been, the county clerk's office, as you can see, has been doing a great job. And they are very aware of this issue. We've been talking about this now for a long time in voter protection circles about how the fact that there's no longer straight ticket voting is going to cause a huge problem, honestly, because it's going to take everyone so long to vote. So one of the things that they are doing is trying to have more e-slates, which are our voting machines, in each polling location to the extent that they can. I mean, we only have a finite number of them, but they're trying to, they've been buying up e-slates from other counties that are no longer using them so that we will have extras in Harris County so we can have as many as possible. We're also trying to do as much as we can to cut down on the lines. As you know, that's one of the biggest problems here. So part of the way that we're tackling that are the things that Clerk Hollins said, the extra days, the extra hours, drive-through voting, more mail-in voting if possible, just encouraging people who are qualified to use mail-in voting to do that. All of that we hope will cut down on the lines so that less people are voting on each day so that they have more time to fill out that whole ballot. But look, there's no perfect solution to this. It's we need straight ticket party voting in Texas. I wish we still had it. And we're just everyone's gonna do what they can, but it is going to take people a long time to fill out that ballot.
I think in our advertising, we probably ought to say more about that to give people a heads up before they go try to vote, so that maybe we'll get more people to do the mail-in votes or do the early voting rather than wait around till the last minute. They need to be forewarned, I think, about this problem.
So we are, I mean, at HCDP, I can only speak to that, of course, and we're going to be doing everything we can to push people to vote early, right? And I think that nationwide, there's a lot towards that right now. It's a good idea to vote early. Go during the first few days of early voting. If you're voting in person, get it done as fast as you can. Yeah. But that message will continue to go out.
Gail, did you have a question?
Hi, yeah. So it was about what I'm calling third-party poll watchers. In November last year, I was out there for a candidate every day, and there was someone in who sort of worked the line. She worked for a company or a group, and I overheard her talking to voters in line saying, you know, if you have any problems, talk to me. So it felt odd. I didn't like it. Is that allowed?
Okay, so I think you're talking about they call themselves poll monitors. Yeah. I think maybe even, I think you and I may have even discussed this last November. I was working for Mayor Turner's election as his voter protection director. And there was one location where there was a poll monitor who works for the Election Protection Coalition, which is the nonpartisan voter protection group. It's the ACLU and TCRP and all these great groups, and they do a really good job. But their poll monitors stand outside the polling locations, and they wear yellow t-shirts. You guys have, I'm sure you've seen them. And it has their voter protection number on the t-shirt, and they're there to answer questions. I had a report of one last November who was being maybe aggressive, aggressively trying to answer people's questions, and it was causing a negative reaction, right? People were then expecting there to be problems instead of just seeing her as a resource. That, as far as I know, that's it's pretty unusual, right? That particular person, I think, misunderstood her role. Usually usually, as I understand it, those yellow shirts stand outside and people come up to them if they have a question. But as long as they're outside the 100 feet, it is allowed.
Right.
Yeah.
Bobby, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify something that somebody else said, and then Roy has a question. The party affiliation does appear next to the candidates' names, does it not?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then Roy had a question. My husband.
Twice in the past week, the president has told the press that he's instructed the attorney general and the U.S. attorneys to have armed police officers in the polling locations. Is that legal in Texas? And if they attempt it, what do you do?
First of all, I'm going to be very surprised if he is able to carry that off nationwide. We are working, as you heard, Clerk Hollins is working very closely with law enforcement in Houston. We are very aware at the party that we want everything to be secure, but we also don't want anybody to feel like this is a militarized process, or to have, even uniformed police officers outside a polling location seems unnecessary and might turn off some voters. So we are speaking with local law enforcement about the best ways to handle this, to make sure that everybody is safe without having any kind of armed presence inside the polling locations, which is unnecessary and obviously an intimidation tactic.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Judge Davis, did you have a question? Deidre?
Hi. No, I didn't have this. I'm sorry. This was the question for
Okay.
before. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Uh-huh.
Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much, Nicole.
I'm sorry, Adrian?
Yes.
I'd like everybody to suggest that their voters print out their sample ballot, mark them, and take them to the polls with them. That way they don't have to read that ballot so closely. They can simply copy their already selected votes. Okay?
Yeah, legal.
Adrian, I see one question in the
Okay.
chat. If you don't mind, I'll just answer it really quickly, which is,
Go ahead.
I see that people are asking about when they're going to hear back from the party or the county about working. We are inundated, which is great. I actually want more people to apply through HCDP, but it takes us time, right? There's 3 of us working literally around the clock, but there's a lot of people we have to go through. So if you haven't heard from us yet, don't worry. We're still getting to you. Please pick up your phones when we call. We've got front desk volunteers calling, but a lot of people don't pick up. Please pick up if you hear from us. If you email us and we don't get back to you right away, please don't take it personally. We really are trying to keep up with it, and we are very grateful, and we will get to you. It's just going to take a while. As far as the county clerk getting back to you, I would not expect to hear back for a while. As you saw, they have 30,000 applicants and 11,000 positions. And I think that's only if we don't fill any of ours, which is not going to happen. So it's going to be a while before you hear from them. And then finally, I just want to say, first of all, Jill Moffitt's on the call, who basically has started the poll watching in Harris County, and she is a legend in that world. So thank you, Jill, for that. And then I just wanted to say thank you. If anybody has any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. I'll give you my email too, but I put the links in the chat to sign up to be an election worker or to sign up as a poll watcher. And I really appreciate all you all are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I have up on the screen part of the GeoTV effort that we are this is the front part of the door hanger that will be available later this week. We expanded the number of people that we had on the front, again, trying to represent the diversity of the ticket that we have in Harris County. And it is some of the targeted races, such as Ann Johnson, Israel Garcia, Michael Moore. But the inside is the ballot for most of Southwest Houston and for parts of West Houston. And the tag that we're using is vote from Biden to Harrison, because in this area, the top of the ticket is Joe Biden, but the last person on the ballot is Mark Allen Harrison. So we have little arrows pointing, start here, end there, so you vote all the way through there. And as of right now, we do have that tag in there that says straight ticket voting has ended in Texas. So we're trying to make sure people will vote the whole ticket. And these will be available by the end of the week so we can begin block walking on those. So that's that piece. We do have a block walk scheduled tomorrow, starting at 9 to finish up with the save the date. But one thing I would like to do before wrapping it up is we had a number of donors that have contributed to this, and I really want to give shout outs to the donors because as y'all remember, our main fundraising was done last year at the 15th anniversary, our quinceañera. We had a blast and everything, and then we didn't plan on, if we were gonna do a fundraiser, we thought about doing it in May. But like I said last time, COVID has pretty much kiboshed most everything that we had planned for this year, so we've scrambled. But we've had donors that have joined in, much of it unsolicited, so I want to give them a shout out because without them, this full project would not be funded the way it is. So Judge Leslie Briones has donated. Senator Boris Miles has been extremely generous. Elizabeth Eakin and Mark Bankston donated money. Judge Sando, Marion Allen Lucky, Judge Mike Englehart, Judge Frederica Phillips, Judge Kyle Carter, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez out of nowhere donated money, so thank you to him. Geraldine Maynor, Randy Scott, and Soren Valverde, who is our printer, but has donated extra yard signs the October 13th and has been really good for us with the printing costs. So I want to give them all a shout out and thank you, yous, because without them, we wouldn't be doing this. Eric is going to begin harassing y'all towards the end of the week to get block walk teams, because I didn't say this at the top, but in the newsletter, we have 50,000 door hangers because we're working with Swing Left to target Commissioner Precinct 3, which is Michael Moore, that we want to flip. Precinct 5, Israel Garcia and Mark Allen Harrison, that we want to flip. And then we added in to make sure that Congressional Seat 2 has a little overlap because of Ann Johnson, that we're adding that target in there. But also we added in Akila Basie's district and Gina Kalani's and John Rosenthal's for the additional overlap up there, plus to give them a piece to help them hit that full area and encompass as much territory as we can. So begin expecting to get bothered by Eric with text messages to volunteer. We also have door hangers available for those of you who want to socially distance, but have at some of the prime locations to have them available for voters as they walk in, because it is a simple piece that they can take in so that they can vote their ballot. It does show the positions, all the judicial positions in Southwest and West Houston, the county-wides, and like I said, those specific targeted races. But like I said, the tag that we're using is vote from Biden to Harrison, because we want to go from the top of the ticket to the bottom of the ticket. And Mark's position is actually arguably more important for a lot of local stuff than some of the other races. That his position and Israel's. So they're at the bottom, but local tends to have a lot more control over what we do. Specifically, Precinct 3 County Commissioner, I don't think we emphasized it early in the cycle, how important flipping the seat is. It's critical that we flip that seat to make sure that Harris County Commissioner's Court continues the extraordinary extraordinary things it's done under Lena Hidalgo's leadership as county judge. I still maintain that was the single most important race that we flipped last cycle. I mean, all the judges, we love y'all, but Judge Hidalgo has shown exemplary leadership and the ability to truly shepherd us through some extraordinary times. Extraordinary is the only word that I can use. because it has certainly not been it's not business as usual because we're not in a room meeting together. We are all separate, and it's nice to see all of y'all. I can't wait to give a lot of you hugs because I'm a social person and I miss y'all. But it is what it is right now. So again, when Eric starts harassing y'all, just take it for what it is. It's time to make sure that all of our Democrats, all of the targeted Democrats in the area have the slate card so they know who to vote for on election day or when they get their mail-in ballot or when they start heading to early voting. And if you are a precinct chair or just want to help, we do have the early vote signs. Just let us know where, what address is the closest one to you so we can have those pre-printed labels for you also. Because that's also part of GOTV because we want to make sure that people know, we know when early voting starts and we know when election day is coming. But I remember in 2018, a number of people, we knocked on their door, were like, there's an election coming, and it was shocking, but it was the perfect reminder that people get busy in life and election day might slip past them unless they get that reminder. So that's just how it goes. Is there any Actually, I wanted to give a shout out before we do anything else to all the candidates on the ballot right now who are on the call. I see Veronica Rivas Malloy on there. Mark Allen Harrison, who I've talked about. Judge Stacey Williams is on here. Judge Davis is not on the ballot, but I want to give her a wave anyway. Judge Barnstone, who? Judge Kovach, Judge Dunson, Judge Payne, Judge Shapiro. Hey, Leah.
Oh, Judge Hall.
And Judge Hall, and she is on the ballot this cycle. So does anyone have anything to add? Thank y'all for attending. Oh.
Yes, I do.
The next,
what about what about the Laredo federal judges overturning the
we will have to wait for the Fifth Circuit to see what they do.
Okay.
From the prior discussion earlier, that has to do with the in-person voting or early voting because the mail ballots are it threw a monkey in the wrench. So we'll have to see what the Fifth Circuit does. So.
Hey, Adrian, don't forget Michelle Palmer is here.
Oh yes, Michelle. I'm gonna yell at Eric because yes, Michelle is one of our targeted races and she's on the front part of our mail of the door hanger. Because part of the reason why we are in such a situation that we are is because curricula has absolutely sucked in Texas and across the country for decades. And so education has been, we're not as educated as we should be, I don't think, as a populace. And getting Michelle on the State Board of Education is absolutely one of the first steps to fixing a lot of those problems. So yes, Michelle is definitely, she is the key to the long-term fixing of the education problem in the state. And actually the country, because Texas selects textbooks that tend to dictate what happens across the country. So, Michelle, there's a lot riding on your shoulders.
Because maybe we should allow teachers to be on school boards instead of non-teachers, and maybe it will get better.
Maybe the school board shouldn't be doing that without the advice of teachers.
Adrian, this is Almeida.
Hey.
I heard someone earlier say to print out your ballot and take it to the post with you. That is a great idea. However, all Democrats is in slot 2. So if you vote for the second person on the ballot all the way down, you don't even have to read the names. But you need to check over to the side. There'll be a DEM at the end of their names. So I'm trying to understand, taking a sample ballot, is that saying we're not voting for some Democrats? I didn't understand. So anyway, we need to vote straight down the ballot, second slot, vote 2 and you're through. Second slot on the in each race, in case there's a libertarian or someone else. If you have a Democrat and a libertarian, the Democrat's the second name on the ballot. Thank you. Republicans are first, Democrats are second this time. And I don't know if it's because there's a Democrat in the governor's house or if they got pulled.
And there are a few races for the first time in a long time where there is not a Republican challenging a sitting judge on the Democratic side. So congratulations to Mike Engelhardt and several others who, once they got to, I don't even think they got a primary challenge.
Yeah,
So they,
a couple of them didn't get primary challenges either.
so there's that. What I was gonna say, this is the last scheduled Zoom meeting of the Southwest Democrats for this year. We will be having an outdoor meeting on October 24th at the Bayland Pavilion for a GOTV launch. So we will be sort of in person, but scattered around as we get ready for that last Saturday for GOTV. But it was much easier getting a large open area like that than trying to launch out of the front of our house again. So we will see y'all, and we will certainly make sure that everyone knows that it will be at the Bayland Pavilion on October 24th, that Saturday at 10 a.m. so we can launch the final GOTV. And just put this out there now, we cannot, when you're at the park, you cannot go up to anyone in the park and encourage them to vote. That's part of the rules. You cannot solicit them. So you have to leave the park. I guess if you came back in and wanted to do that, technically you're no longer part of the meeting, but that's, I'll give those instructions at that time on October 24th. So I hope to see you all there, unless you're working at a poll at that point. If no one else has anything else.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're going to have the in-person meeting, but will you have any type of Zoom option or anything if we can't make it? If we can't make it?
Are you about to head out?
Okay.
I think there's someone not on mute.
Hold on.
Are you able to do both? I guess basically is what I'm asking.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
So
Part of that.
You're going to
broke
have an in-person meeting next month.
Yes.
And I'm asking, are you able to also have a Zoom feature for persons who might not be able to make it in person? So you can have the in-person, but somebody with a phone or something with Zoom
We'll probably stream it through Facebook. And do it that way. Just because I think the features are easier on Facebook than Zoom on a phone. I know I hate doing Zoom on a phone.
Okay, if you do you won't be doing any voting or anything like that?
No, this is a straight rally for GOTV. It'll probably be a total of 15 to 20 minutes in person. And then block walk packets will be handed out for people to go hit specific precincts with a lit.
Oh, okay. So your next actual meeting.
Right. It is a meeting in assembly only, but there will be no voting. There's no motions. The bylaws have been amended. The funding has been approved. I anticipate nothing that will be coming up at that meeting that will require any kind of voting or credentialing or anything. It is a pre-GOTV meeting, basically.
Okay, and the next meeting, do you know when that is?
We might schedule something in mid-November after the election, because technically our next meeting, because of the fourth Saturday, falls at Thanksgiving and then at Christmas time. The next meeting wouldn't be until January. So we might have just a evening meeting of some sort to go over like election results if we have them.
Okay.
For how.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Oh, I have a question, Adrian.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I was on a text thread with some other Democrats, people I don't really know, and they, someone said they heard it was better to not vote straight ticket Democrat. You should have some Republicans on there to ensure your ballot gets counted. And I tried to dispel that. I'd never heard that before, and I'm wondering if you've heard that.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it just seemed like crazy. Anyway, I just wanted you to know.
It sounds
Okay,
like misinformation
Yeah, that's
aimed
the
at
first I've
getting
heard of
you
it.
to vote for some Republicans.
This is totally irrelevant. The counting process, the electronic process is totally irrelevant of who you vote for. You know, you can vote straight Democratic and it will not affect the ballot one iota. It won't affect your count one other than electing more good Democrats. I am on the ballot board. I know these things.
Thank you, Jill.
So somebody was conning someone.
Can anyone tell me who is the chair of the ballot board?
Rob Itchesson.
Who is it?
Rob Itchesson.
Oh, a newcomer. Okay, all right.
A newcomer. He's an attorney.
Anything else? Okay. Thank y'all all for attending. I hope y'all, it was informative. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Let's get out there and throw Trump out. So have a great Saturday. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all.
everybody.
Thank you.